children, it's Mrs. Lee here. It's assembly number 11 and it's the week beginning Monday the 1st of July 2024. How are you? I hope that you are okay. Me? Oh, thank you for asking. I'm okay too. Come with me. Let's do the routine. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Well, I can see that the yellow pencil hand here, which is the long one, which is the minute hand, that's right, is pointing towards the 12. And, yep, you're right. I know that that means it's o'clock. Now, I look to the hour hand to find out which hour it is. Now, the hour hand is always the shorter hand. It's on our clock, a green pencil, and it always just points towards. It doesn't actually touch. And it's pointing towards number 4. Put it all together and I get, that's right, it's 4 o'clock. Now, the lovely Miss Reed has changed our language of the month. She wants us to speak in Arabic. Now, Arabic is spoken in lots of countries, including the United Kingdom, including England and in Wales and in Scotland. And who can remember? That's right, Northern Ireland, isn't it? There's 4 countries in the United Kingdom, and there are people who speak Arabic. In fact, in our school, we have families who speak Arabic. It's a beautiful language, and there's lots of ways to greet each other. You can say hello by saying marhabin, but also you can say something really beautiful, which is assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. And that's like saying hello, but it's sort of saying peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum. Lots of different ways to speak in Arabic. And I'm sure over this month, before we finish for our summer holidays, which is in 5, 10, 15 school days, not very long now, depends when you're watching this, but if you're watching this on Monday, it's only 15 more days and then we'll be finished. Anyway, hopefully over that time we're going to learn lots of new phrases in Arabic. Now come with me. A Makaton sign. Mrs. Lee's put 2 up. Now, there are 2 that you know. We have done these before. It's really good to remember the Makaton signs that we've done. The red one says nurse. You use your thumb and you make a cross on your shoulder. Nurse. Can you sign nurse? Brilliant. And this one, that says kindness. And again, you're going to use your hand like this, and you're going to make this shape. Like I make an arc shape, and this means kindness. Now, nurse and kindness, why does Mrs. Lee want us to think about them? Well, as I said at the beginning, assembly number 11 is about empathy, but it's also at the end of this week, it's the NHS's birthday. Woohoo! Let's celebrate! So the NHS has been around for over 75 years. That's a long time. That's older than Mrs. Lee. It's older than Mrs. Smith. It's a long, long time that the NHS has been around. The NHS means, can you remember? Because we talked about this last year. That's right. It's the National Health Service. So, here is our globe. We've been thinking about our globe and around the world, haven't we? Remember, we are part of the United Kingdom, which is up here, quite a small country. But if you live in, can you remember the countries? England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. If you live in those places, in the United Kingdom, then you are entitled to free healthcare. That means you can go to the doctors or to the hospital and they will hopefully make you better. And what I'm hoping is when you go to the hospital or to the doctors, you will see a nurse and she will, or he will, because remember nurses aren't always ladies, can give you some kindness. Who can remember 2 ladies who were nurses who Mrs. Lee has spoken about before, about kindness? That's right. We talked about Mary Sokol and her birthday earlier in the year, and we also talked about another lady who was in the Crimea War called Florence Nightingale. Now, they were both nurses. Can you do me the sign? Ah, super. And they were both kind. Can you do me the Makaton sign for kind? Fabulous. I'm going to put these books on our display and you can come and have a look at them and read them when you are coming in here to eat at lunchtime. And I've also put out some photographs you can come and look at. And I've also put this little booklet out as well. It's called Celebrating the NHS. And there's lots of different people on the front. Can you play I Spy with me? I spy with my little eye somebody wearing a stethoscope. A stethoscope. In fact, there's two people, isn't there? There's this person in the pink jumper, who I believe is a doctor. And there's this person over here who's a nurse who's also wearing a stethoscope around her neck. Now, the stethoscope is a good piece of equipment, isn't it? And it helps the doctors and the nurses to hear inside our bodies. Another nurse here. And we've got a paramedic. Now, some of the people in this book, you might have seen them when you've been to the hospital. Maybe you popped into the hospital because you've had a baby brother or a baby sister born. You might have seen the midwives. They're the ladies or the men that look after the babies when they're first born. Or maybe you've had to go to the hospital or to the doctors because you've been feeling poorly. Now, I bet you've never seen this man before. This man, Anaran Bhavan, was the gentleman who thought about the NHS, and he thought it's not good enough that in the country over 75 years ago it was really, really sad because babies were not living for very long. Lots of babies were dying, lots of people were poorly, and lots of people, because they didn't have enough money, they couldn't get health care. And he had this idea with some other people, and he created the NHS. All right, and it's grown and grown and grown. And it's really, really important that we look after our NHS so that you and me can go to the doctors and get health care and not have to spend any money. Now, they are people there who work very, very hard for us. They are that's right, they are very kind. They look after us. I also wanted to talk to you very quickly about what's in the research centre. In the research centre, I've put up a new display of books by a lady called Jacqueline Woodson. Now, Jacqueline Wilson's books are also about being kind. Now, they're not linked to the NHS. In fact, they're American. And in America, oh my gosh, where's America? Well, it's right, there's us. It's right the way over here, over the Atlantic Ocean, over here. And they do not have free health care in that country. The lady, Jacqueline Woodson, she has written lots and lots of books, but the moral in the story's ending is really, really pertinent. It's something that you and me can really think about how we are as people. Are you as kind as the nurses that you see in the hospital? Well, in this book, it's a sad, sad story because there's a little girl who joins the school. Oh, you remember the other week I was talking about refugees? Well, this girl's a little bit like a refugee. She had to leave her home and she's had to come to a new school. The new school that she's come to is in America and it's actually winter. And she's come to this school, but she hasn't got the right clothes on, children, because where she's come from, it's quite warm. So she's got a little jacket on, but it's not really summer, it's not really winterproof, it's more for the summer. She's come, and look at her, she's looking down at her feet. I wonder why she's looking down at her feet and not at the children as she walks in the class. Do you think maybe she's a bit sad? Class teacher tells the children that her name is Maya, and there's Maya in class. When they go outside at break time, they go and play on the playground. They've got footballs and they've got hopscotch. The girls have got friends. And there's Maya standing all on her own. How do you think she's feeling? That's right, I think she's feeling sad. One day, when they were near the slide, Maya, she came over and tried to make friends with the girls. But you know what? None of them wanted to play with her. They left her on her own. She had a really cool game of jacks and she ended up playing all on her own. In fact, in class, they weren't very kind to her. They didn't talk to her nicely. They whispered about her. At lunchtime, because she ate different food to them, they ignored her. They didn't want to play with her. Poor Maya. Well, it got warmer and warmer, just like the weather usually does. And the grass began to grow and the snow went away. And Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But they still looked a bit tatty. And all the other girls still didn't want to play with Maya. They left her on her own. They made up songs about her. The next day when the girls came to school though, Maya's seat was empty. In that class that morning we were talking about kindness. Our teacher brought in a big bowl into class and filled it full of water, and we all gathered round her desk and watched her drop a small stone into the water. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. "This is what kindness does," said the teacher. "Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world." Then our teacher let each of us drop a stone in as we told her what kind things we had done. Joseph, he'd held the door for his grandmother. Kendra had helped change her baby brother's nappy. Even old Andrew had done something. "I carried a teacher's book upstairs," he said, and Mrs. L and the class teacher said this was true, but I just stood there holding my stone. I thought for a long time. The teacher said, "Even small things count," but I couldn't think of anything, and I passed the stone on. What do you think she might be thinking about, children? Remember the little girl that was at the school who they all ignored, including her? Maya didn't come back to school the next day or the next day after that, and each morning I walked to school slowly, hoping that this would be the day that Maya came back to school, and when she looked at me, I would smile back, and when she asked me to play, I would say yes. Each kindness, the teacher had said, makes the whole world a little bit better. Maya's seat at her desk remained empty. One day, our class teacher said that Maya wouldn't ever be coming back. Her family had to move away. And then she told us, "Get out our books, let's carry on doing some work." That afternoon, I walked home, and when I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wish that I had said to Maya when she was at our school. Each kindness I had never shown. The ignoring, the being mean, the saying horrible things. I threw small stones into the river over and over, watching the water as it rippled out and away, remembering, like each kindness, done and not done, like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the trees, and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. That's the end. How sad is that? Poor Maya. Nobody showed her any kindness and she left. Wouldn't that be awful if that was you, children? I hope that everybody here can show kindness to everybody. I'm hoping that everybody in our school remembers the golden rules. We are kind. We are gentle. Hoping that is happening around our school, and hope that everybody is keeping their hands to themselves, making sure that everybody is allowed to join in with the games, making sure that everybody has a smile. Can you practice your smile right now? Oh, they're fantastic smiles, well done. Right, let's see if we can be very kind, like the nurses that we were talking about earlier on this year, and like all the hospital doctors and nurses and paramedics, all those people. Let's see if we can just be a little bit more kind to each other. Right, we're going to finish off with our school prayer. Ready? Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen. I did listen, I slowed it down. Have a nice week, children. Bye.